What's going on in the shop? Well, it's raining outside, so I'm not flying, even though it's warm here in East Tennessee. And my back is out. It decided to go south on me the other day. Back into real estate. Been forced back into real estate. That's not a bad thing. I need to go to work. The T-Rex 600 had a bad rear bearing. Started making noise. And my LED lights are doing that thing. So that engine and clutch is all took apart there. And then this is GMP Cobra stuff going on over here. Man, look at those lights. Get some of that reduced here. Of course, now you can't see, hardly. Anyway, GMP Cobra. This shaft, these were a real weak point with these. The clutch is pressed into the end of that shaft, and that's turning at engine speed, supported in this bearing block right next to the main shaft. And if that thing has any run out, and it does, and it's bent like a wet noodle, of course, so I'm gonna have to get a way of either straightening that, which I'm not likely, or converting a miniature aircraft one you can do, or possibly running that to a machine shop and getting a few of those made. What is this? Dude, what is this? I'm turning this back on. This is a Concept 30. A Concept 30. I ran across this. My last sentimental build was the 800 Trekker. And then I ran across this that a guy had bought in 1992. This is a Conquest, and all this is new in the box. And so I'm doing a Concept 30 build. What an innovative little helicopter for its time. And this was the helicopter really that got me flying, because it got me some time in the air, because it wasn't vibrating itself to pieces all the time. No harm intended to the predecessors, but this was revolutionary. And the engine drove the tail, which then drove the main shaft. There's a few things about this that were off the charts. And what really I loved was that the flybar was in the same plane as the main rotor. Probably ultimately too much design to be worthwhile, but aesthetically it was the closest thing you were getting to not seeing, that flybar was always an issue for me. ADD, man, it killed me. Anyway, that's what's going on there. I flew that yesterday, and what a spectacular flying helicopter. But personally, I'm aggravated and agitated at my flying in real life, compared to what I'm capable of consistently doing, battery after battery after battery in the simulator. It's one thing to be able to do something in a simulator, and simulator is not flying in the real world. But if you I always say, if you can do it for a whole battery in a simulator under complete control, then it's time to transition that to the real world. And usually by then, I have just naturally started to accidentally do the stuff in the real world. I'll be flying and throw in something I've not done in physical world yet, but I do it in the simulator so much that it has just become a complete habit. And I am really, really hung up on that, in that I should be progressing much further and faster in the real world. But then I shouldn't be complaining, because I've only been hard at 3D for almost 3 years now, about 3 years. Anyway, just agitated that I go out there and try to incorporate in what I'm doing in the simulator. I can fly everything except flipping pirouettes, piro flips. That's, I mean, I can fly rolling loops. And, you know, I could get on a simulator and fly, but that's a cop-out. Till you can do it in the real world, buddy, you're not doing it. And even then, until you can do it in front of a bunch of people, you're not really doing it. You're not at that level of professionalism, which I have. All I'm trying to do is get as close to that as I can get before I die. Meaning, you know, just do it every day, get better at it. But then I get agitated because it's my own fears. And what the hell do I have to fear, man? Crashing a helicopter? Well, put it back together. That's what you've always done before. Wear a helmet and some body armor. I'm having a psych out session. I just don't want to fly because I'm not getting any better. So I'm like, why fly if I'm not getting any better? And we do the same. People don't understand that watch people fly RC helicopters, that those of us that can do something, whatever it is, from hovering right on up the line to flipping pirouettes, that once we're proficient at that, we're so sick of it, or at least it's the music syndrome of, by the time you can play a song well on the guitar, you're so sick of playing it, you don't want to play it anymore. And then everybody wants to hear you play it. And then that's the difference in doing something for you or doing something for other people's recognition. And I only fly for me because I just want to be good at it, because it's so damn hard to get good at. I keep thinking it's going to get faster and easier, and once I mastered all aspects of flight, I did stop crashing a lot, almost entirely. But by the same token, now I'm hung up on this. I can't get myself to do it in real life. The 2 before syndrome. I call simulator versus real life as 2 before syndrome because I was a builder for a period of my life, North Carolina general contractor, and I started in Florida actually, but you can lay a 2 before on the ground and walk on it all day long. You can stop and turn around and walk on a 2 before laying flat, but stick it up on a balloon framed wall 3 stories high, on the side of a mountain next to a 60-foot drop off, and suddenly walking on the 2 before, much less grabbing a truss that's being swung over to you. And man, I was scared to death of it. I always said I didn't have a fear of heights, I had a fear of edges, but yeah, that's a fear of heights. So that's the difference, is you can do it on the floor because you know there's no consequences to just stepping off of it. The worst consequence is possibly twisting your ankle. And the consequence from 80 feet off the ground is not good. And that's what I'm hung up on, this 2 before effect. This is probably boring enough as it stands, but I got a whole video. I'm going to do a whole video series of building this concept. And then I'm going to have my daughter edit it down, because I don't know how to edit, or I would have edited this video if I knew how to edit. It's been cool building this. A little bit cooler even than the Trekker 800 mostly because of this little manual right here, this little supplemental. Oh, and I'm back under these silly lights. But this little supplemental is awesome. Some of the verbiage in here, and it'll be in the video. But like comparing this thing to a small caliber rifle bullet, they're just, the gentleman that I bought this from on eBay, I believe he just didn't build it because you know, he probably looked through the manual, and if he read this, he was probably like, yeah, we'll just keep that in the box. That the manual's just, it's funny like that. And a little bit of the assembly verbiage is funny. There was something in here about, I've known you could do it, or I've heard of doing it, but it instructs you to fill the cylinder head with oil and put the glow plug back in it to tighten the clutch nut. I personally wouldn't recommend that because of the softer metal that's at the bottom end of the rod. Everything else is fine, but anyway, I'm rambling. I'm out. That's what's been up around here. My back's out. Trying to fly a little bit here and there, but mostly fiddling around with this stuff. Peace.